Test, test, test. Here we go. That's better. Hey, everybody. It's Dave here in the background as I'm trying to set things up. Let me... Bada boom, bada bing. There I am. What do you think so far, huh? I'm curious. What do you think so far? I want to welcome everybody here. Dave L., Raymond, Anthony, Big Mikey. Yes, Bo Richter needs to make the team. I agree. And he has stood out. That's a good thing. We have Chuck. Van Keekel needs a mustache. Hey, I'm all for anybody that wants to grow facial hair. Absolutely. SKOL, everybody. And Jonathan, you are 100% correct. LDR has looked good too. We're not quite to the 2-minute warning, but that is all right. And Mary, you are 100% correct. Football is back. Now I need to finish turning on my lights. Here we go. Here we go. What have you thought of this game so far? I know I've enjoyed the shit out of it. Except for here in the fourth quarter when Darren Hall seems to need to find some better passing lanes so he doesn't get balls batted down. But that's Darren Hall. This is our first live. It's a 2-minute warning show of the season. It's the preseason, so we're knocking out some of the kinks. Ira, I think Bo Richter's had a good appearance in this game. He's making a name for himself, and I hope he makes the team, which would be good. We'll find out. Yes, Anthony, 15 more yards and bring in the assassin, Mr. Will Reichard. Let's see him hit a long kick today. Not that I want this game to end in a tie, but I'd love to see him hit a kick. But it is the preseason. It doesn't matter, and they won't go to overtime. It'll just be a tie. So that's that. And it won't be a loss. We haven't had a win since, 2019 in the preseason? Not that there's a correlation between what happens in the preseason and what happens in the regular season. We were discussing that in the chat today of what are you looking for in the preseason? Players can make mistakes. You want them to learn from them and improve and not make those mistakes again. That's what the preseason's for. And you want to see the team will make mistakes as a whole. That includes coaching staff, etc. And you want to see them fix those mistakes and learn from them and go on. And that's what this game's for. Special teams is a big one that I've seen so far today. Just at my raw eyeball is that Mr. Coach Daniels needs to get a little bit more work on his special teams. I do not like the tackling and the getting to the ball so far in that respect. And then the one blocked field goal attempt, I don't know if it was DiPaolo's snap being a little bit off or Juergens being bull rushed, but that was not good either. And there's Reichard practicing into the net. We'll see if he does. Hey, I'm willing to try him all the way up to a 75-yarder field goal because he was hitting those in training camp. So that's what we're doing. Jonathan, you're happy about the JJ mental resilience coming back after the first pick. It isn't easy on a rookie in the first game. You are 100% correct. It shows that we may have something with the young man, and I'm cool with that. I hope everybody's cool with that. I'm going to zoom in a little bit and readjust this. There we go. And we got nothing. We're inside the 2 minutes, and I'm going to hit the roll in real quick, and we'll be right back. Welcome to Vikings First and SKOLs, live at the 2-minute warning. Next. Oh. And we're not going to go double quite yet because Tyler's doing his thing at the moment, but he will be here. So we'll go back to the single screen. Now, I do want to address a couple things. Hall's been painful, according to Mary. Our buddy Christopher Gates, Grand Poobah over at Daily Norseman, said he is QB4 on a 3-QB team. Yes, he is. He needs to find some better throwing lanes. He's had so many blocked down so much already. It's not looking good. Anthony commented that we need Stephon Gilmore immediately. Well, we may have him tomorrow. We'll find out. He's flew into town today to meet with the Vikings, so we may have him tomorrow. Dave L., hello to you too. Now, X says JJ's performance was odd because it struggled with some of the short throws, but showed great poise and accuracy downfield on 2 of his TDs. He did. I think he was a little bit nervous, X. There's a difference between college, even if you play for Michigan, and the pros. And now I did see some footwork issues, and I did see some timing issues with him today. But on other passes, he was dead on. That's what you expect out of a rookie. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, that's what you expect. He ended up with, let me look it up here. PFF had him at 11 for 17, 206 total yards, 2 TDs, 1 interception, and 116.8 passer rating. That's not bad. I'll settle for that on, what, a half of play? He started the first quarter and went into the third. Yeah, so about a half. You can translate that over. That's not too bad. He was driving and scoring. I'm cool with that. Davey, don't speak too soon, my friend. Don't speak too soon. It may happen. X, more good than bad. That's all you can really ask for. And I think we've had that today. For the most part. I mean, you can pick out some individual players that didn't play well. But for the most part, as a team, I think we've had more good than bad. But we'll find out. And that first drive with Sam Darnold looked good until they couldn't put it in the end zone. I wish they could have. But it looked decent. There's nothing wrong with that either. So it's a good thing. I love how the light shines through the roof onto U.S. Bank Stadium field. Now, today I was looking at, was the field a factor anywhere? And I think my buddy Darren on 2 Bloggers, who will hopefully join us tonight too, if I ever send him the link. I got to send everybody the link. Didn't even think about that. He saw 1 slip, and that's it. So it is what it is. Yes, Michael, it is important that he came back from that interception. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. You got that right. And also need to put out the tweet. Boy, I'm rusty too on this first game. I need to get my stuff together, as we'd say in the military, and we wouldn't use the word stuff. But, all right. Let's see. Let's get this puppy out there. I know, loving talking dead air as Dave does his thing. Got to switch over to Vikings First and SKOL account. And we got a reception. Boom. Short return. Now, what did you guys think of Justin Jefferson mic'd up in the third quarter? Did you like that or did you not like that? I am real curious about that. I thought he brought energy like crazy to the broadcast, and I thought it was wonderful. And it happened to be the best quarter, too, I thought. So, just curious. Yes, Michael, we all need to work on our red zone efficiency. I want it to be 100%. We get in the red zone, we score 6 points. Right? Should. That's the way we want it. Barry was pleased with his performance today. Not bad for rookies. For all the rookie quarterbacks, I think he's had a good one. Dayon believes that when the keys are handed to JJ, he'll be just fine. I think so too, buddy. I think so too. Chuck liked Jets on the air. I thought it was good. He got excited. He was one of us, basically, at that time. Michael, you're right. LDR, I thought's had a great day. Bo Richter has a good one. I haven't seen much of Gabe Davis. I wish, it's maybe because I've been setting up for the show. I wish I had. Dayon Jefferson was brilliant. He was himself, and that's why we like him. X says JJ was a little bit too focused on the game, but he was like a good luck charm when on the mic. And yes, I agree. Jefferson was that. And that's cool. I mean, that's what you expect from a player. Chuck says Rouse having a great game, except for the strip fumble. I think he was in there at left tackle when he got beat. That caused that. That turned around to be an incomplete pass because his arm was moving forward. Mary thinks Dallas Turner is going to be great for us. And Jonathan said, Dallas Turner looked really good today. I agree there. I agree. No, stop saying Richter and Rodriguez had a good game. Yes, LDR absolutely did. I think Richter did too. And there's a good catch by Nick Muse. Not Nick Muse, 89. Who's 89? Off the top of my head. Oh, that's Thomas. Okay. Now, did anybody see, and I may have missed it, the Robert Tonyan? Did he play? I don't know if he did or not. Now, I saw that Reisner was out. Reisner's out with some sort of injury that I hadn't heard of. Okay, cool. That doesn't help his cause at all. I wish Ed Ingram would have played better, but hey. I did think Blake Brandel did well at left guard today. The big rushes early in the first quarter came off the left side. We'll find out. Dayon, I agree. The Vikings are going to surprise the naysayers. The whole we're favored for 6.5 games. I don't think that's going to be the case. So it is what it is. Yeah, Levi is like a wild Samoan. Could be. X says Tonyan believes Tonyan is hurt as well. Could be. We'll find out. And what the heck happened to my camera? It just turned off. Hey, that's cool. Why in the world did that do that? Don't know. Well, there's a way. Turn back on. Nope. Let's go this way and go the old camera. But I have no idea why that turned off. So you can see it's a different angle. Hi, Tiny. There it goes. Comes back on. I must have said something. It's one of those AI cameras that powered cameras that does whatever the frick it wants to. Yes. Let's get back to the correct camera. There we go. We are in field goal position. Yes, we are. Darren Hall, hands off. I'm way behind, guys. I'm streaming on NFL Plus. That's the way I get these games. I'm not lucky enough to be in the local area and get it on Fox 9 or however you guys are watching it live. I wish it was, but nope, not the case. And Texas has warmer winters than Minnesota. Trust me, I've experienced both. And Tiny unlocked me. And Tiny's not listening. That's the name of the camera, by the way. Come on. Up. There we go. Stay up. Thank you. All right. Michael says second team O-line. I think it was either Quesenberry or Juergens got mowed over. But that was all great from there. I know Juergens got mowed over on the field goal attempt on special teams. So that's what that was. Mary, you're so happy to watch football today. So am I. Anthony's got it on NFL Network. Anthony, mine's NFL Network via NFL Plus. Because I don't have a separate NFL. I get NFL Network via my NFL Plus subscription. That's how I get it. Just to let you know. Well, if you're going to be that way, I'll be this way. I have control. All right, here we go. I'm looking at 3rd and 2. Jaron Hall lines up under center. And I'm out of the heck of doing this, and he spikes the ball. Aha. Doc Proto. Vikings football, yes. Can we hit this field goal to win? Here he comes, the assassin, number 46. I love kickers with bigger numbers. Anthony, isn't Juergensen a little small for the position? I don't think so. Well, he's 6'3", 6'4". He's good for guard or linebacker, or good or guard or center. Boy, linebackers. Speaking of linebackers, did anybody see much of Cashman? I saw him running around, saw him in there. And the kick is up, it's good, and the Vikings win the game. The Vikings win, yeah. Hey! The Vikings win their first preseason game since 2019. KOC is hugging somebody, and he's crying and weeping with joy. Get him a real number. I happen to like that kickers can now have 40s, numbers in the 40s. I think it's cool. We'll find out. Now, punting competition. Did you see any movement in that with either Vernon or Wright? Just out of curiosity, do you see either one of them stepping up today and making the team? Or any difference? To me, I wasn't watching that closely. That's why I'm asking. Yes, JJ is our good luck charm, and I'm glad we paid him for that. Sing it, Dave. No, I'm not going to sing it, but I should play the song. I've got it somewhere. I need to load that sucker up. And if I search SKOL Vikings, I'm going to get a bazillion hits because, of course, that's what I do. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I'll have it for you next time. I'll write that down in my notes. Raymond, here we go, baby. Here we go. Very well. We want a preseason win. Yes. Chuck says, right, bomb that one before the drive and flip the field for the field goal team. Yep. Michael says, it'll be Mr. Wright. Oh, let's hope so. Hey, I got somebody in the green room. Let's flip to 2 screens real quick. Bada boom, bada bing. Change the name. There's your sneak peek. As I bring in the second half, the better half of Two Bloggers Mr. Darren Campbell. How you doing, buddy? What did you think of today? He said, hold on one. Okay, we're holding on. We'll say, hey, it's good. Anthony, SKOL to you as well. Swerve says, oh my God, we did it. Yes, we did. Barber's in the house. Vocal Mike, good to see you, Rap. Hey, Rap, if you're not broadcasting, come join here. That's right. I can handle quite a few. Anyways, how you doing, Darren? You coming up? And I got no audio. Same as last week. Don't know why. You're not showing muted. Yes, Anthony, the streak is finally over. I love when the streak's over. Now, let's get the not winning the Super Bowl streak over. I'll be even happier. But, yes, Anthony, KOC's first preseason win, and that's a good one. Let's see if Darren can try this again. We had this problem with him last week. And let's see. Talk to me, Darren.
Am I coming in yet?
Yes, you're coming in. You're coming a little weak. How's your game?
Okay. I didn't have Roadcaster turned on when I logged in, and I did it after I logged in, and I think
that's what'll do it.
I just got out and then was had my Roadcaster on, logged out, logged back in, and I guess I'm okay.
No, you gotta turn on the Roadcaster before logging in, and I learned that trick myself the hard way. All right, sounds good. What did you think of the show?
Well, like any preseason, there's good and bad in it. I think the first half was I was expressing my frustrations offline a little bit because we didn't look too good, but you had to keep in mind that the Raiders played most of their ones for a good portion of the first half, whereas we played the ones, I think, for the first series, and then that was it. So you had to take that into account. But I think there's a lot of good things to individually anyway, and even collectively to take out from it. First one, and everybody's going to be jumping on that too, was the quarterback stuff. I thought Darnold looked sharp in the one series he had. He showed really good, that arm strength that we've been hearing about, and showed good ball placement on some of his throws, getting it over coverage, just the right touch. I didn't agree with O'Connell. I know why he did it, but I was just saying, like, when they had that 4th and 2, I would have let Reichard get his first field goal, like with a bunny situation, just to like, hey, I made it. It's over. That's my first professional field goal in a preseason or exhibition game, and it was like a 20-yarder, and just get it over with. And then his first field goal attempt gets blocked. And I think he hit that one a little bit too flat, and the interior of the Vikings blocking unit got completely caved as well on that one. But then at the end of the game, he comes through when he has to. Again, it was a chip shot as far as NFL standards, as far as distance go, but right up the middle, in it went, no issues. So that's good. And McCarthy, I think we talked about, like, I said I'd give him a B as far as a grade today. I think maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but the interception is one that I think it really took a lot away. I thought he was a little bit, you mentioned it, that his footwork was off on a couple of throws. He was late late throwing on a few cases that led to pass breakups. And but in the second half, and again, he got better playing against the Raiders backups, but late in the game, I know they were wide open, Tristan Jackson and Trent Sherfield, but he hit him in stride perfectly, made the throw. I saw good pocket movement from him, moving up when he had to, escaping the rush, made a nice scramble on a third down play to get a first down. So lots of positives from him. He didn't, again, he held on to the ball a little bit too long on a few plays. The footwork, the ball placement wasn't great on a few short throws, but he looked in command. He looked like he knew what he was doing. For the most part, he was decisive. And if you hadn't watched him a whole bunch of games, Dave, and I hadn't at Michigan, but you saw that his arm strength is not something that got like raved about in college, but he's got great zip on the ball from what I saw today. And I don't think there was any issues ever about can he fit the ball in the tight windows, but I think his arm strength is actually underrated.
It very well could be. I know he was throwing some. He was throwing some perfect balls today.
Yes.
Now, he's been hammered on for throwing too hot of passes, too much zip. Well, the pass Sam Darnold threw at the very end of his drive, I thought was a little hot, but sometimes you need that. If he would have done that on the one that got picked, it would have gotten there before the ball could have got jumped. Now he should have also thrown it close to the sidelines as well. But
that's a case where he's not used to a DB making that kind of play, because DBs, even when he played Ohio State, didn't jump the ball like that, like Jack Jones did on that play. But lots of, like, as far as a first time out goes, I think that went almost as well as we could have expected. And I think that, McCarthy will be hard on himself, particularly for the interception, and that'll get coached up by O'Connell. It already was on the sideline, but there's a whole ton of stuff that he can look at and say, that was pretty good. Pretty good outing, first outing for me. And been mentioned, I thought, collectively, I thought what went well was, to me, I thought that the offensive line, whether it was the ones or the twos, they pass blocked, I think, pretty solidly. There wasn't a whole lot of pressure on McCarthy, on Jaren Hall, or Sam Darnold when they were in there. They had time to throw. And when they didn't, they had alleys that they could move up in the pocket and get a better to make throws. So that was good. And I think, when you're looking at it, obviously Jalen Naylor did exactly what we've been hearing about in training camp, as well as Tristan Jackson made some nice plays. Clearly, Bo Richter really showed. I don't know if you could make a team on one preseason performance, but if he has another game like he had today, I'd say his spot on the team he'll be getting a roster spot. Special teams, bit up and down, blocked field goal, gave up a big kickoff return, which Richter made a nice tackle on to prevent an even longer return. So, again, some good and bad, but I thought more good. And what I thought was also encouraging was in the previous couple of seasons, when the Vikings have had to go to like their bench guys, they really got worked by the opposition. And today, I thought they were doing the working. And what that means, I don't know, but maybe a little bit better depth. Jaren Hall, I thought played pretty poorly, which was a bit disappointing. 3 batted passes, until the final. He did rectify things a little bit with a nice little game-ending drive and made a couple of nice throws there. But before that, I didn't think he made one good throw, and he seemed to be holding on to the ball a bit long. A lot of like short stuff. So he'll have to do better if he wants to even to stick with the team. I don't think he will if they keep Mullins, and then he'd be a practice squad guy. And I don't know if anybody else will be too interested in picking him up out the practice squad if he keeps on playing like that. But he's got 2 games to show better.
Well, that makes a perfect transition. Since you're talking about Jaren Hall, and we have the body that absolutely loves Jaren Hall. Tyler, what did you think of the young man? And welcome to the show, by the way.
I just want to say and congratulate Jaren Hall for single-handedly winning the game against the Las Vegas Raiders. An absolutely impressive performance. Look, I think Darren's right. Jaren Hall didn't look rosterable until that final drive. I don't know what it was. He didn't play like this in the preseason last year. He didn't play like this in his 2 starts. He was overwhelmed against the Green Bay Packers, but he didn't look tight. He looked like he was pressing. He looked like he was fighting for his life and not playing loose, relaxed, and playing the type of football that I've seen him play time after time after time. And it felt like he got a little bit more comfortable when the pressure was more on with that 2-minute drill situation, and he handled it very, very well. But not really a great performance if you're looking at potentially making the roster over a guy like Nick Mullins. The whole idea of keeping Hall is he's in his second year, and you get 2 years of a backup quarterback contract, which is incredibly valuable with the salary cap. And he's got some starting experience. As Darren mentioned, that Falcons game, he looked pretty good before the concussion. So I don't know. I really don't know what to think of Jaren Hall right now, but he's got to take that 2-minute drive and he's got to build upon it. But good on Kevin O'Connell for getting the monkey off his back. I think this is the first preseason win for the Vikings since before the pandemic, 2019.
2019, yep.
Look, preseason wins and losses don't matter, but they do. And here's what I mean. Your competitors, coaches, players, you want to win. You play to win the game. You don't, you play for money and all that other stuff too. You play for camaraderie, but the whole goal of playing the sport is to win. And not winning in the preseason doesn't matter. The Lions, when they went 0-16, went 4-0 in the preseason. It doesn't matter, but it does. And it's more of a morale thing. So the Vikings can go home tonight, go to bed, and realize, hey, I want a football game today. And that little bit will just make you feel good. And there's a lot more to talk about this game, but kudos to Kevin O'Connell for one, trying to win the game, and two, the players on both offense and defense at the end for taking advantage of those opportunities and going out and winning the football game.
Okay, yeah, I agree. Let's grab that sucker and win. Yes. And we especially want them to do that in the regular season, but it's good to have it start out now because it leaves a better taste in everybody's mouth. There's plenty of learning material that was done today that we can see that's going to happen. Overall, what did you think from starting with that first drive with Sam Darnold to all the way up? You just told us what you thought of Darren Holmes Hall. So
I thought Sam Darnold looked great. Everybody's going to talk about JJ McCarthy's debut, and they should. McCarthy looked awesome. He flashed brilliantly, and he developed over the course of the game. Because, look, it was not a phenomenal performance by McCarthy. He had some phenomenal things, but this is where what we talked about during training camp practices, you see the flashes, but we're ignoring the fact that there were misses. There were mechanical flaws. There was the interception. Now, the decision wasn't terrible on the interception. Tristan Jackson had a step on Jones. McCarthy threw it behind him, and that is a cardinal sin on a crossing route. You cannot throw the ball behind the receiver because that's just asking for an interception. So the decision was fine. You know, you probably don't have to make it. It's third down, so you're going to feel a little more pressed to do it, but you have to throw that out front and give only your receiver a chance to catch it. He'll learn from that. There was a screen pass where McCarthy just decided to pistol whip it and put about a gallon of mustard on it. You don't have to do that. And that's something that rookies need to figure out. Justin Jefferson even mentioned it when he was on commentary. The biggest difference between Sam Darnold and JJ McCarthy is McCarthy's a rookie and he just wants to rocket everything. Darnold understands how to put touch on and when to do that. McCarthy's going to get that. That's not a question. It's going to come with time. He's going to develop that skill, and he's going to know when to arc it and when to pistol whip it. So those things, I'm not worried about it. But it's evident to me that Sam Darnold's the guy right now. And even with JJ McCarthy's positives, which were great, they were exciting. I was having a blast in my basement watching the game and writing about it. But it's those little things, the consistency elements. So let's kind of turn this back to Darnold, Dave. I thought Darnold looked really good under center, had command, did not panic. Looked like he was pressing a little bit on a couple of those rollouts, but he got let down twice by Ty Chandler where the ball just kind of hit the hands and then hit the ground. Both those probably should have been catches. And if you have
you put
a different
it right
player
here at the numbers, you need to catch the football.
Yeah, 100%. And I wanted to see a little bit more of that from Chandler. We didn't get it. And that kind of sucks because last year he was good catching the football. In college, he was good catching the football. Not a great day for him catching the football. And especially if he wants to be that 1B, which we all believe he will, you got to catch the ball. Otherwise, Aaron Jones is going to play every third down. And then it's like, well, when's Ty Chandler going to play?
Only
Those are questions you have to
yeah.
Yeah. Darnold, I thought, looked really good. Throwing the ball with zip, throwing with accuracy. Didn't look like he was seeing ghosts at all. And I know that's kind of a meme because he got caught saying that on the sidelines, but he looked comfortable. And Jalen Naylor, just don't get hurt, dude. Don't get hurt.
I only saw him drop one ball, and that was it.
3 catches, 63 yards, 24-yard dig route, a 19-yard corner route, and then another 20-yard dig route. The Vikings were spamming dagger in this game, which you have the guy on the inside runs a go or a post. The guy on the outside runs a deep in or a dig underneath, and that's almost always open. So the Vikings are going to continue to use that. They spammed it last year, too. They spammed dagger all the time, but the dig's always open, so why not? I really liked what I saw from Naylor. I liked what I saw from Tristan Jackson. That crosser in the second quarter, right after that interception, McCarthy laid in beautifully. The touchdown. I want to talk about the touchdown. McCarthy's first, because McCarthy laid it out really nice. But the key here was Jackson kind of goes into the defender and gets the defender to flip his hips just a little bit and then takes it back towards the pylon, giving McCarthy extra space to be able to lay that in. Thought that was awesome on both parties. Of course, Justin Jefferson predicting it was just a tremendous touch. I wanted to see more of Deshaun Jones. We didn't get that. But the offensive line, I thought was a little sporadic. And like Walter Rouse, I think got beat a couple times. They got beat a couple times on the inside. A little bit too much pressure on McCarthy for my liking. But especially because it was, the 2s were facing the 1s for the Giants. I mean, they were facing Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins, but the 1s got a decent amount of run for the Raiders today. And you look at some of those factors, I would have liked to see better performance from the offensive line, but not everything's going to be perfect. You go back to the drawing board and you try and figure it out. Defensively, I thought Levi Drake Rodriguez and Bo Richter were the best players on that field. Richter's first snap in a Minnesota Vikings uniform, sack. Got around the right tackle, made a play. Had another quarterback hit, had 2 tackles for loss. Tremendous. And Levi Drake Rodriguez, that motor. You keep hearing about it and you keep seeing tweets from the beat like the motor's real, the motor's real. We saw it. The motor is why he got that pass breakup. The motor is why he got the sack. He was running out to the flats to try and get a scrambling quarterback in the second quarter with Gardner Minshew. Awesome play from both of those guys. Secondary needs work. Now, work is a very relative term here, Dave, because there's a lot of new bodies back there. And not just new bodies from like March, new bodies from like last week. And
we're most likely going to have another new one tomorrow.
And it showed.
The communication was just rough. And the touchdown to DJ Turner in the second quarter, where Minshew just kind of flicked his wrist and nailed it. Well, you can see Bobby McCain, because it looked like they were playing some form of man match. So man match principles is a combination of match and zone, where you are going to play man in a certain space. And then once they leave the space, you pass it on to the next guy. Where in zone, you're just playing the space. Or in man, you're just playing the man. Man match is a nice combination of both. But you could see Bobby McCain flag out to Theo Jackson, hey, he's yours. Jackson is just too slow on the trigger and is not able to get over there to make a play on the ball. Easy touchdown. That's the kind of stuff that makes me a little less worried about the defense. That's going to get cleaned up. That's going to come with time. It's the same thing we talked about with a lot of the mechanical stuff with JJ McCarthy, the chemistry that Sam Darnold has yet to develop with the receivers. You need time to be able to get that kind of stuff down. They have not had enough time with some of these guys, and it showed. 180 yards passing allowed in the first half. Brutal. but they really tightened it up in the third and fourth quarters. And I'm not super concerned about them on a long-term basis because Brian Flores, Flores is probably pissed because he wanted to do some fun stuff, and you can't. It's preseason. You don't want to show teams what you have in store. So overall, I thought there was a lot of good to take from this game. Some really frustrating ones. The punt return where the Vikings allowed a 23-yarder. Thayer Thomas just got bitched across the field. It was rough. From the get-go, he got pushed from the far left, the far side of the field, all the way over towards the other sideline. And then that allowed Trey Tucker to get up 23 yards because he just went right into the hole that Thayer Thomas vacated. So you got to play special teams better than that if you want to make the roster. Yeah, pretty fun game to watch. A really good debut in the 2024 season. I'm really excited about it.
Speaking of debuts, Darren, what did you think of Dallas Turner?
Well, I'd have to look play by play how he managed things on the various plays, but I counted he had one. He got the one sack clearly, and then he had a pressure before that, and then he had a near pressure on the long pass that Minshew threw. I think that was the big gainer. It wasn't the touchdown, but the big gainer to I think. I forget which wide receiver. He was just on the verge of closing in on Minshew on that one. So that's what there's other things that you'll want Dallas Turner to do well, but he's drafted to get to the quarterback. And today, in not a whole bunch of run, I think he played a quarter and a half or so. He did that. So happy with how he looked, and there's stuff you'd like to do better. I can't say like how well he did against the run. You're always a fan like me will always be just paying attention to the pass rush wins by Turner, but he was able to do that today in a few snaps. And so very encouraged by what I saw there.
Well, I look forward to, you talk about going against the run. I look forward to breaking down the film, just looking at the lines, defensive line and offensive line. I want to know how these guys did. You know, I tried focusing on Brandell a few times and some of the other guys on the O-line and then a few times on the defensive line. But I want to see who's doing well, who's not doing well, who missed. But I love that Dallas Turner was in there just banging away and going at it. He wasn't the only one. Like we said, LDR did it, and Bo Richter also did it from the outside. It's you want more of those. And Tyler, we talked about LDR, Levi Drake Rodriguez moving on the pass breakup. What you didn't mention, and what I saw, he was 3 yards upfield when he jumped and blocked that down. The fact that we have a nose tackle driving people backwards, and we haven't had that in a while, that is a good thing.
Well, Dave, I don't want to burst your bubble, but he was more of like a looper. He had a free run. He wasn't pushing guys back on that play. But I do like that there is some nose tackle to him. And people laughed at me. They laughed at me, Dave, when I said I think they're going to play him at nose tackle. They laughed. Who's laughing now? Well, I guess you guys are, but not in the same way.
Right. It's going to be interesting to see. Now, Brian Flores has some work to do. There were mistakes on the defense, not just the secondary. And the secondary it's probably the biggest problem, but there were some mistakes. But it's going to be fun because it's a learning experience, and that's what these games are for. And he's going to work on getting those better. He's going to fine-tune it. I can't wait. There was a tweet I passed. I don't remember who it was from, somebody I'd never heard of, but said the NFC North is going to be a bloodbath this year. We've got 4 decent football teams in the NFC North. And I think the rest of the league is going to be shocked when they play them. I wish the Packers weren't, but sigh. But it is what it is.
The NFC North is going to be a hell of a lot of fun. I'm really excited. Akayleb Williams was getting a lot of love for a designed shovel screen pass today that went for 43 yards.
Flip.
Thought that was hilarious. It wasn't even really an off platform. It looked like it designed screen because otherwise, you know what? Them offensive linemen are not that far upfield. If that is just, hey,
it was a screen pass. It was a screen pass. The only thing that looked weird was that he flipped the ball.
Yeah, like, come on. We're really going to drool over Caleb Williams because he flipped a screen pass?
He did okay.
Oh, no, he did fine, but they were drooling over that. I'm like, come on. Like, Jaden Daniels, at least with his first throw, hit like a 45-yard bomb. All right. Drool over that. That's cool.
Dallas, I hope Dallas Turner makes us less think of Danielle Hunter, but Danielle Hunter was a good Viking. So
he was a great Viking.
I don't want to take that away from him ever. Hunter
also was not a fit for how Brian Flores wants to win with the pass rush, and that's something that I don't think it's talked about enough. Turner is a fit. Van Ginkel is a fit. Jonathan Grenard is a phenomenal fit. Now, you can do great things with Hunter, and he could do great things in this defense. He was not a fit. And sometimes fit matters a little bit more than talent. And that's why I think the Vikings have a better edge room this year than they did last.
We'll see. Well, Darren,
is
there anything else that you want to talk about that I've missed?
I don't know if it got missed. When we talk about, I guess, things that might be cleaned up, I thought that the Vikings run defense was not up to par. It wasn't that they gave up any big, huge runs, but it seemed like every run that Las Vegas had until the fourth quarter when they're playing Anthony Brown and then the kid from South Alabama, and there's no threat of a pass. Like it was the runner, White, whoever would. It seemed like we should have them stop for 2, they get 4. Should seem like we have them stop for 3, they get 5. It just kind of pushed the pile. We didn't seem to be stout enough up front. I found that a bit annoying. That's something that kind of I felt happened last year a bit too towards the late in the season. So I'd like to see us get that cleaned up a little bit. Again, keeping in mind, not all the starters played, and this was happening with some of the 2s and 3s as well later on in the game. And Bo Richter, I thought he looked a lot like Brian Robinson in there, just physically. He was bigger, thicker than I expected. When I saw the measurables on him, he was like 6'4", and they call it 250 or something like that. He looked big, and he made his presence known today.
And that is surprising. Were there anything that surprised you, Tyler?
I think I don't think we saw Dalton Risner once, and I don't think we saw him at all during practice this week. But I haven't heard of an injury.
I asked. He's supposedly injured.
Well, supposedly, but it's just interesting we haven't heard about it. And then same with Gabriel Murphy, who apparently missed the last few practices. I didn't see him on Thursday, and then he all of a sudden about 20 minutes before kickoff is like, "Hey, he's not going to play." It's like, really? He was a guy I was going to watch intently because I was really, really intrigued to see what he was going to be able to do. Because look, short arms, it can be a real deal breaker. And if you have the short arms, well, what does that mean for your pass rushing acumen in the NFL? Because pretty much every tackle is going to be able to dwarf you with length.
Yeah,
so how are you going to combat that?
And you're out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then the good part for him is he's not 6'4", he's 6'1.5". He has the ability to get low, and that can be a nice counterpunch to that length issue, because if you get low enough, well, then all of a sudden their hand is on your shoulder pads, and you got to be careful about a block in the back. So I'm intrigued to see what he looks like once he does get on the field. Nick Muse is making this team, and I think they're actually going to use him on offense. He's got a connection with JJ McCarthy. It's evident.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it is. Now, I had a few names that I wanted to see today for evaluation. Akayleb Evans
made a nice play on a screen pass. Did not let the receiver, I think it was Trey Tucker, move at all. And
after
got the tackle block.
Had whiffed completely, I think, the play before on a similar type play. Yeah, he made a nice tackle. there.
Stevens put and Scene played, but he didn't make any plays.
He had a tackle on special teams where it was that punt return that I mentioned that Thayer Thomas got completely out of contain, and all of a sudden that area is open. Scene sprinted out, covered it, and got the tackle. So sometimes with defenders, especially in the defensive backfield, no news is good news. If they don't talk about you and you don't notice them, that's usually a good thing. Now, I think from the fan perspective, like,
put it that way.
Well, I think what Steven means is like, well, we didn't notice him, so did he do anything? And I think that's a very valid viewpoint. But at the same time, if you don't notice them, they didn't screw up, and that probably means they played relatively well.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I saw Scene like Tyler says, like sometimes the plays don't come your way, and I thought that was one of the things with Scene today. He wasn't in on a lot of plays because there weren't a lot of plays that came his way. It seemed like he was a deep safety today. I saw him up in the line of scrimmage maybe a couple of times when he first got in the game, so he wasn't nosy at the line of scrimmage, and they kind of didn't throw his way when he was out there passing wise. So what do you want him to do? Scene was the one guy. I don't know if he helped himself today, but if he didn't screw up, that's always a good thing, like Tyler said. I was trying to think of somebody else that I was. Anyway, Dave, you go on about the guys you wanted to see. Certainly, Scene was somebody that we wanted
Shelley.
to see.
I saw him once, and I thought he got hurt.
He played in the fourth quarter. That was the first time.
And there was a pass over the middle. He was late to getting it. It was a completion, and I thought he was hurt because he wasn't in on the next play. But that was all I saw.
They actually had McLaughlin in there before him in the third quarter.
AJ Green.
Ward, we thought looked kind of he got beat deep that one time. Made a couple of decent tackles, but I don't know if he's a corner. I mean, yes, he played corner at LSU, but when you get switched from corner to safety at college, what's your chances of playing corner at a decent level in the pros? I don't know about that, but it seemed like they moved from there. The Vikings did more out of necessity than anything else, and maybe if they sign Stephon Gilmore, he'll move back to safety where he's probably belongs.
AJ Green, wasn't he one of your people that you wanted to see, Tyler?
No, he was the guy who picked off Jaron Hall during Thursday's practice. Okay. That's my guess, Dave, is that's probably why your brain jumped there.
Okay. Now
go ahead.
Well, I was moving on to the next name, Ed Ingram. I got to break down I'll get the all-22 and look at that even further.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see anything spectacular.
I didn't see anything.
The only thing I spotted that actually worked was on the left side. So I looked on the right side. Now I saw one run. I'm trying to remember who it was to the left. It was Ty Chandler went to the left, and the entire O-line blocked down to the right. And Ty Chandler got hit at about the line of scrimmage by a guy on the outside because he wasn't blocked. And I had mentioned it in our chat that I want to look at the blocking on that next time, or the play call, whether he made the right choice or not, and whether it's Chandler or what the heck went wrong with there. But I thought Brandel did well today from when I focused on him, what I saw.
Yeah, I didn't really have many issues with that first team offensive line. I want to look at the all-22 like you said, but nothing egregious stood out to me. And I think that's a really good thing kind of on that initial view. Usually my eyes when I'm watching the game, I don't focus a whole lot on the offensive line. I'm really focused on how the quarterback is reacting to his surroundings. I'm focusing on like the receivers and the skill players. That's just kind of how my process works, because it's so hard to see in the trenches during a game broadcast what's going on and who's actually playing well and who's not. You need to see that all-22 view.
That's
kind of
different. I like to look at the big round bellies.
Well, it's not that I don't like to watch them. It's so hard to see what they're actually doing because there's so much nuance that you can't see from the game broadcast.
Stuff flying around.
Yeah. So my eyes just kind of veer away from that. Like and I focus on other things which are much easier to see.
Well, most people
from a
track
game
the
film
ball.
broadcast. Mhm.
That's how most people watch. So,
How
another
did,
player.
How did everybody think about? We heard some good things, or I lately this past week or so about Brian Asamoah. He got to play a fair bit, particularly in the second half. Maybe a couple of he got his nose in there on a few tackles. But any thoughts on how he looked?
Didn't really notice him on first watch. He's been flying everywhere during camp. Every practice I've been to, he is stood out in a positive way. I don't know if he's going to be able to be a true rotational guy. I want to see a little bit more during these preseason games. I think he's going to get a big run next week during the preseason because of the joint practices. And I want to see it. I want to see a lot more. I think he's got a lot more. So
I did see him flying around, but I also saw him miss on one. So I look forward to watching the game back a second time with a critical eye.
Oh, I can't wait for the All-22. I'm lucky that I have a great mother-in-law, and I'm very lucky that I hit the in-law jackpot, and she's heard this before. But it might take me a little longer to get to the All-22 because she's in town this weekend. So we'll see when I get to it. But when I get to it, I'm going to have a lot of fun watching. We have All-22, baby. Let's go.
That'd be cool. Other people. I didn't see Tunyon play, and I heard at the last minute he was injured.
He got carted off the field
the back spasms
last week with the back spasms. Honestly, I think Nick Muse, it's got to do some catastrophic to lose that job. He's been really good. He's moving a lot better, a lot more confident with his routes. He's catching the ball really nicely at the catch point. He's doing a lot of the things, Dave, that you want to see a developmental tight end do, because tight end is arguably the toughest position to develop in the National Football League, because
it takes the longest.
Oh, you have to not only be a wide receiver, you have to also be an offensive tackle. That is an incredibly hard thing to do. And we talked about with Andre Carter is thank you, Roscoe. God bless you. One of the things with Andre Carter in that Army training is Army Ranger training, Dave, as you know for sure, when you train for the military, you train for endurance, you train for cardio, you don't train for strength and explosiveness. Sprinting versus
strength, but not, yeah.
It's explosive sprinting versus distance running. Noah Lyles wouldn't be able to run the 1500. Noah Lyles can run the 100, and he's the fastest man in the world. Now, your best 1500 meter runner ain't running the 100. Like, you're looking at two completely different philosophies and two completely different ways of training. So as a tight end, you have to figure out how to stay twitchy and bulk up. It's very tough. And I think Muse, being a 7th round pick, it's great to take tight ends that late because you don't have to put pressure on them and you can let them develop, and you could stash them on the practice squad and let them grow and develop. And guess what? Nick Muse, there's a non-zero chance Nick Muse is going to end up as the best player from that 2022 draft class. I'm very bullish on him from what I've seen in training camp. Well, it's also the 2022 draft class, Dave. It's not very good.
Well, I know. You got your choice is between Ed Ingram and Nick Muse, right?
Yeah, Ty Chandler and Jalen Naylor have got chances too.
Yeah. Well, and Naylor, and that's
Evans.
That's maybe.
For how bad it was at the tops, they may have 5 solid contributors from that draft class, which, you know what? That's not a disaster. It just sucks.
If they get 5 solid, that's a win. Call it a win. Because we thought it was going to be a disaster. Now
it still might be, but
it still might be.
Things are looking up if Naylor, like you said, if Naylor ends up being your wide receiver 3 and produces in that role, and if Nick Muse this year carves out more of a role for the team and becomes more of a contributor, and then Ingram takes the next step, and Asamoah becomes something of a contributor, that adds more volume to that 2020 draft. It's just that the guys that you really thought were going to show, Booth and Scene, are not. And that hurts.
Yep. I want to highlight Scottish Bear. He's a Bears fan from Scotland. I mentioned earlier, Scottish Bear, that the NFC North is going to be an absolute bloodbath for every team outside the North that plays them. It's going to be rough. We've got, looks like 4 good teams. And I appreciate you hopping on and showing the algorithm that we could be friends in the NFC North with all teams except for one.
Blow, pack, blow.
Yes. Speaking of tight ends, what did you think of N'Keal Harry's play? Because I did see him a couple times out there today.
It feels a little awkward at tight end still. But hey, look, one of the things he was really good at was getting attacking the ball at the catch point, and he did that late in the fourth quarter. Kevin O'Connell smartly challenging for 2 reasons. One, you want to be able to kind of test your ability as a head coach. Look, it's preseason for the coaching staff too. Taking opportunities to, hey, let's challenge stuff, because you know what? We need to kind of figure out, hey, what am I kind of seeing from the field, and then growing and developing that aspect too. And like, Harry's going to take some time as a full-blown tight end, but I think they're kind of using him more as an H-back, a move guy. So move him around, line him up in like flex kind of positions, which I think is really good for him.
He made a hell of a catch on that one that Tyler's referencing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was not easy, and I can see why the refs initially called it incomplete, because it probably should have been, but he grabbed it in, and that's he grabbed it in. But like Tyler says, I think when you're transitioning to tight end, even though last year the Vikings used him when he was in there as a blocking wide receiver, they ran all the time when N'Keal Harry was put in the game, which wasn't very much. But so it's going to take time for him to learn how to be a tight end, all the nuances there. I don't know if there's a roster spot for him, because the tight end room is pretty could be pretty full. You got Munt. If Nick Muse makes the team, TJ Hawkinson's there. What are you going to do with Tunyon? But maybe Harry's a guy you'd put on the practice squad and hope nobody takes him, and you keep developing him. And then when you get an injury, you bring him up. I'd like to see him developed that way, but maybe somebody else in the league will think otherwise and want to snap him up and play him at tight end as well.
Could very well be. I want to address, and we're not saying anything bad about Brandon Powell. I just think, especially with the way Jalen Naylor played today, Jalen Naylor's got the wide receiver 3 locked down. As of now, he's going to have to get hurt to be beat up by Powell. But there will be situations that Powell comes in. I think that's just the way it is. I think this is where B-Flow's philosophy of not having a depth chart but a trait chart, what you're good at, a skills chart, if that rubs over a little bit to the offense, and we're talking with skill players like Jalen Naylor or Brandon Powell, that in certain situations you want one or the other one in, and by all means, or tight ends, because we have a variety of tight ends. We watched the very beginning. Johnny Mutt looked good. Oliver looked decent until he dropped that football. Use them for what they're good at. Be efficient. Change things up to make the defenses question why you're doing it. That's not the old way we did it. Let's do it that way. Now, other people that played, we talked about Jaron Hall. All right. Now, wide receiver Jashawn Jones. Did anybody see him?
He was on there for a few snaps, but he didn't do anything. He didn't get the ball thrown his way, as far as I could tell. Actually, Ty James, the undrafted rookie free agent from Mercer, one of the 2 we once had, he actually caught a ball on that last drive, whereas Jashawn Jones, who, like, we've been hearing good things about him, really was invisible today.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the situation.
More games. He's got 2 more games to show.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And then we have other people I had on there. Juergens, a bad taste in my mouth as he got bowled over on a field goal block. I'm going to have to watch all 22 to look at those guys. Rouse, I thought, did all right, except for he was the one that got beat when J.J. McCarthy got his arm hit.
I don't think he got his arm hit there though. That the edge rusher, whoever it was, got a piece of his jersey, and he was moving up, and he looked like he threw, but then he stopped trying to throw. He decided, no, I'm gonna bring this in, and he didn't get to it, and the ball went out of his hands, and that's why they ruled it an incomplete pass.
It was the tuck rule.
Yeah.
No, seriously, that's what it was. It was the tuck rule.
Okay, cool. There's Anthony says Sheridan Sr. had a couple drops. I'm not
I don't know if there were drops. I think he's mean Sherfield.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I think
Speaking not of Sherfield, Kene Nwangwu, what did you think of that run, that 46, 48-yard run he had?
So I think there's multiple ways to kind of layer this down, and I think a lot of it has to do with how Kevin O'Connell's offense has really evolved over the past few years. Started off 2021 before O'Connell got here, wide zone, and then O'Connell's running a little bit more mid and inside zone, but a zone-based offense with some gap concepts. Now you're running a more gap concept-oriented offense, which is good for a guy like Nwangwu who struggles with zone vision, and now you're in a good spot with Nwangwu. Guess what? Walter Rouse seals the block. Tight end, I think it might have been Johnny Munt, held firm. Nwangwu, hey, I have to hit the C gap. I hit the C gap. Touchdown. And then it's just sprinter speed. Just that if you're going to be able to have some utility with Nwangwu in the backfield, you have to be able to utilize that speed in the proper context, and gap concepts is the way to do it. But I want to give him a lot of credit. He had an awesome pass blocking rep that saved JJ McCarthy, and McCarthy kind of got out of the pocket and I can't remember if he was able to do anything, but the pass itself, tremendous. Or it's the block, I mean. Awesome stuff from him. I need to see more of that. I need to see more of that for across the board with these running backs, and I think we're going to see it. But overall, really impressed with Nwangwu's day. I've had him on the outs overall with the Vikings as far as being a roster cut. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's going to make it. Let's see more. Let's see more than just one game.
Redemption Rye, for those that are asking or wondering. I thought it was good. I very much appreciated his running today, except for the one time he ran to the left. He ran all clear across the line and got tackled at right around the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard behind. He didn't make the corner. So
Anthony thinks he had bad games, and he can't. He had one good run. Yeah, well, it was a hell of a run. He also caught the two balls that were thrown to him. There were screens, nothing major, but Ty Chandler didn't do that. So
if you are a reserve running back, you're going to get on the field less because of a 48-yard run where the hole was there and the safety took an awful angle. You're going to get it because you made that pass blocking rep. And he made the pass blocking rep. It was excellent.
Mm-hmm. Scottish Bear says, no one's showing off their hand with kickoff returns yet. We won't see it until week 1. You're probably right on that. We did, however, see Carlson hit it short of the landing zone, and the Vikings got the ball at the 40. That was nice, except for we didn't turn it into points.
Yeah, that happens.
But that was interesting. All right, through my list, the only other player. No, I shouldn't say that. I'm speaking too soon. Dwight McGlothern. I saw him on the field, but I didn't see anything special.
I think it's one of those things until we get the all-22 where no news is good news. I'm just going to kind of roll with that. If I didn't notice you and you were defensive back, let's take that as a win for now and then wait until we get the film.
Okay. Cool beans.
I don't remember them throwing in his direction while he was there. So that could, like you say, could be a good thing. Maybe his coverage he was in good coverage position and the quarterback went to a better option, which is fine. He almost got in on like there's one tackle for a loss that he was in the area. He would have made the tackle if the other Viking defender didn't. He was in good position there that I remember. But yeah, I don't remember doing anything on pass defense, but I don't remember him getting targeted either. So
Right.
on to the next game.
So, which will be interesting. Our next,
There's not a tire fire out there, so that is a positive.
our next 2 preseason games are on the road, and of course, our first regular season game is on the road. We will not have a home game until what, the 17th, something like that, of next month. So we'll see, but I can't wait to get the all 22 along with that. Darren, we have our show tomorrow, 2 old bloggers. What have you got lined up for us tomorrow?
A few things. We're going to talk about the game again, go over that. We'll go over some old material, but there could be folks who will be tuning in tomorrow that didn't tune into this one, so it'll all be new to them. Also going to talk about the Vikings running game and what might make us think that it'll be better than it has been under Kevin O'Connell in 2022 and 2023. What are some of the factors? There's 3 of them, I think, that might be there. And going to do This Week in Vikings Land segment and touch on the Booth trade, the Gilmore visit on Monday, the Vikings releasing their depth chart this week, and any surprises there. There weren't really too many as far as I could see, but a couple. And also going to be looking at, I'm forgetting what's the other thing we're going to touch on, but you might remember it better than me.
No, I do not. But
it was about the talk this week that Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell won't be getting extensions right now.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is okay. David asked, you better talk about Bo Richter. We did talk about Bo Richter today. He was balling, buddy. He was balling. That's tomorrow on 2 Old Bloggers. Monday, we have the Real Forno Show. Ladies and gentlemen. Tyler, what's your thoughts on your show?
We're going to talk more. We're going to talk more about this game. It will be a recorded show. The wife and I really didn't get to celebrate our anniversary last Thursday, so we're going to celebrate it on Monday. But we're going to have a show. We're going to talk about this game. We're going to talk about things moving forward. A brief preview of the first joint practice, which I believe is on Wednesday. And we'll also have, I think, a brief preview for the night practice, which will happen right after airtime. So there will be a lot of really good stuff. And as always, you can check out all my written work, AtoZSports.com. And then you just go to the NFL teams, Minnesota Vikings, and all my stuff is there ready to go. I think I've already written like 10 pieces today because I'm an absolute psychopath. I'll have my regular Studs and Duds article out tonight or tomorrow. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to look through the press conferences, and then I have a dinner to get to at 7:45. So busy for me.
Yep, it definitely is for me as I try to turn this around and get ready for tomorrow. With that, I want to thank everybody that's joined us today. We've had a great showing. You all rock. Absolutely rock. And again, Vikings win. Vikings win. I hope to say that about 24 more times, baby. What do we say, Darren?
We say SKOL Vikings, baby. Thanks for watching.
What do we say, Tyler?
SKOL Vikings.
SKOL Vikings. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And share this episode with your friends and even your enemies. We'd love it. Thanks for watching Vikings First and SKOL. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network, and we appreciate each and every one of you. SKOL.